the NI Golf Podcast with Paul Kelly and Morris J.
It certainly is. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be listening to the NI Golf Podcast episode
42.
Brackets Beast from the East. If you've been out playing golf over the last 3 or 4 days, you must be
Mental.
Maud, because it has been horrendously cold. Like that's the coldest I think I can remember.
That has cut you in two weather, isn't that what they say?
Cut you in two weather is right. On the programme this evening, Mr. Kelly,
we've our latest news from the Pro and the Amateur games.
We have top performance coach Karl Morris. Paul went to meet him. He had a wee chat with him. Got his mental game sorted out.
Try to get you sorted out. Young star Tom McKibbin joins us to tell us about an exciting invitation he's received.
And we've got big news from Concra Wood. We'll be chatting to the pro down there, Conor McKenna.
And finally, last but not least, we have our first quiz of the year in association with Golf Now.
The NI Golf Podcast, sponsored by Andrew Morris Golf. Have your swing analysed on TrackMan for a custom club fitting by our leading team of professionals.
Mr. Kelly, the pro news.
Right, let's start with the most contentious issue. Right, Justin Thomas.
This, in my view, this is not contentious.
Well, let me just kind of let's just explain.
Because this, go.
Relax.
Okay.
Right, so he won his 8th tournament at the Honda Classic on Sunday, beating Luke List in the playoff. But it was his decision to have a spectator ejected on the 16th that has really caused a stir. And he later apologised for getting the spectator thrown out. However, I think he was right.
He was totally right.
There you go.
He was totally right. He should have thrown about 40 of them out.
Exactly.
Anybody that mouths, even thinks about shouting
road
out, down the road.
It's been getting
referee.
It's been getting out of order for too long.
I know, but it's this last wee while. Yeah. Last year and this year, it's just stupid. There's always at least 2 or 3 buck idiots
over the top
all the time.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Exactly.
First time warning, second time out in your
road.
Ear.
Yeah.
Out.
It annoys everybody. Anybody watching it on TV, it annoys them. I don't know if you were standing beside somebody who did that.
Poke them in the eye with a large stick. They would get a 7 iron across the chops.
They'd have to do something. You'd turn around and you'd say, "What the hell are you doing?"
It's just so bad. It's just like,
catch yourselves on.
And it only seems to happen mostly in one territory of the world. So to our American listener,
yes,
can you please tell the
rest of
the 50 other million golf fans not to do that? Yeah. Can you please start passing the message on?
Yeah, it followed, obviously, Justin Thomas had followed the event the week before when Rory and him played with Tiger.
Yes, and
both of them talked about how Tiger ever managed to concentrate with all that going on.
Well, what did Rory say that Tiger gives a half a shot per round to the field?
Exactly, two shots
a tournament, having to put up with that nonsense, and that he had to take headache tablets after playing with Tiger.
Exactly, and that seemed to be the start of it. I think Thomas had decided after that he'd had enough, and the first chance he got, your man was poked and sent out. It's interesting that he felt that he had to come out and apologise afterwards.
But they shouldn't have.
He shouldn't
have. He should have. That should have been the standard.
Yeah. That
everyone else went.
Exactly.
You know what, JT, good on you. We're all going to start doing it, and we'll knock this on the head because they're assholes.
Yeah. Basically. And they're ruining it for everybody.
He hasn't sobered up from Phoenix. That's his problem. Whoever that boy was.
Well, now there is an issue there as well, because if you're letting people away with all kinds of things at one tournament,
how can you exactly?
Do you create an environment where you allow too much to happen, and now you've got a real problem? Like, this is just isn't the Ryder Cup. This is in the middle of a tournament that he's trying to win.
I know.
And your man says, get in the bunker, get in the bunker.
I know, but it just does every time I hear somebody shouting something, it just does my head.
You want to turn off the TV when that's a problem as well.
I'll put your boot through the TV.
Yeah. Well, he's the sole competitor in this week's he's not the sole competitor.
Mashed potato, mash your head with a 7 iron.
Thomas is in this week's WGC field in Mexico, where Paul Dunn will be flying the flag for Ireland as the sole competitor from here.
Hey, come on, Dunners. Tiger Mini has somehow managed to go up a notch at the Honda, as we saw.
Yeah.
Playing his second event in a row, Woods finished tied for 12th.
Yeah.
He was in the lead at one stage.
It was
albeit after 3 holes in the first day or something.
Yeah.
His best finish since 2015. Led the field in proximity to the hole, and after the event, he talked up his chances of doing well in the Masters.
He said he's on course, which would be
You know, that could be the surprise of the century.
If he wins the Masters, he is hands down the greatest golfer ever seen, ever, and will never be beaten. There you go.
Including Jack.
By some way. The Honda wasn't a great event for Rory, who finished tied for 59th. He failed to break 70 in any of his 4 rounds. Now, he's taken a week off, and the word is that Michael Bannon, his coach, has flown out to Florida.
Yep.
Ahead of his next outing at the Valspar Championship. Shane Lowry finished tied for 49th at the Honda, so he'll also be back in action at the Valspar. And Rory was really not at it.
He wasn't at the party.
Right from the start.
He wasn't at the party.
The windy conditions, struggled to control his ball, really was struggling to, even his accuracy was down off the tee, his accuracy with his irons was poor. He didn't actually put that badly at the either, and the greens were great.
And considering how well he played in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
He'd gone backwards a bit in the 2 events in America.
Yep. While we're talking about roars and the Irish players, some other bits of Irish Open news. We mentioned that County Sligo was in the running to host the 2019 Irish Open. Recent reports have also put Lahinch and County Kerry into the mix. And according to Irish Golfer magazine, Rory is trying to talk the Scottish Open to switch the weeks of the tournament on a one-off basis next year.
Yeah,
now that's because that has been sort of the inference and the talk, and you know, there's been a wee bubble about that for a couple of years now. Wouldn't it be great if
it would be a great idea? Look, to run the 2 tournaments back to back, and people would come. All the Americans would come and play the Irish Open a week before the Open, and then go and play the Open Championship. It works on so many levels.
So what does Rory have to do or promise to the Scottish Open to make this feasible?
He probably has to commit, as he says. I think he said, he was reported in that piece by Bernie Maguire for Irish Golf magazine. He was reportedly saying that he would play in the Scottish Open and commit to playing in it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So basically what he's saying is that if you switch for me, I will commit to playing your tournament for 2 or 3 years. Fair play to him. He's putting himself out again for the Irish Open. And
it's for 2019.
Yeah. He's trying to get a range for next year for to work in with Portrush.
Absolutely. So
he doesn't want to be any flan. He wants to be based here for the 2 weeks.
Just for himself. Not for anybody else. Just wants to have a wee bit of home cooking. He wants Rosie to make his dinner a few times. That's what it is. Now that would be amazing. If Rory can pull that off, fair play.
It'd be great for the tournament, for both tournaments.
And the history of Irish golf would be good for the history of Irish golf.
2 weeks. Can you imagine the 2 weeks? Well, the European Tour has moved from Qatar, where Eddie Pepperell won. Wasn't that brilliant? Eddie Pepperell, what a character he is. He's a great character. So they've moved from there to South Africa for the Swanee Open, and Gavin Moynihan is the only Irish player in the field. Gavin actually got a late invite to the field in Qatar. He arrived on the Thursday of his first round.
Was out about 3 hours later.
He arrived at 1 a.m. he was thinking he was right. You say he was out.
He was out about 7 o'clock or something there, wasn't he?
So he played, surprisingly enough, he played his opening round in 5 over par. He had a 77. But he came back for round 2 and got it round in 5 under 67. But he still missed the cut. But it was a great learning experience for Gavin. But
don't do it again.
What do you do? If somebody gives you a late invite, do you take it? Is it good for you? That's the issue.
Well,
scheduling is an issue.
Well, I think it was probably it was a bad call on whoever's part, but probably his part, to fly home from the Middle East if there was a chance that he may get a call up to go back again.
He was the very last one in. How would you know?
Well, you wouldn't, and that's the thing. But you know what?
Do you base yourself somewhere in between, like Dubai or somewhere a bit more long term, because you can get them more places from there quicker?
Well, if he had the option, could he have stayed on and just farted about and done a bit of practice in the glorious sunshine? Just on the off chance. I don't know. Anyway, on to the LET. Frances Celine Boutier won the inaugural Australian Ladies Classic Bonneville. On the LPGA, Jessica Korda won the Honda LPGA in Thailand. A remarkable win, coming just 11 weeks after major surgery left 27 screws in her mouth. They
had to break her nose and break her jaw and all to fix an overbite, and she was out playing golf. I just been lying in my bed. Anyway, Ryder Cup captain Thomas Bjorn and the Solheim Cup captain Katrina Matthew will join forces when they play together in the Golf Sixes event on the European Tour schedule in May. There's no word of an Irish team at the minute, and I think it would be great. Now, I don't know if it would ever happen, but it would be great to see the likes of Paul Dunn and Gavin Moynihan playing together in that Super Six. The captain's team is one of 4 new wildcard selections which have been introduced this year's event. It's basically what they've done is they've introduced the women. So we'll have Georgia Hall, Georgia Hall and Charlie Hull will play together, and also England's Mel Reid and Suzanne Patterson, and they'll also be joined by the defending champions, last year's winners, Lucas Bjerregaard and Thomas Olsen.
And finally, a bit of recent Irish success in the mini tours. Stuart Graham grabbed his first pro win at the Palmares Classic on the Algarve Pro Golf Tour, and Johnny Caldwell winning on the Evolve Tour. Yeah, great. Don't like to say it, could have been the tips I gave him last year around Clanley, but don't like to mention it. But also a mention for Neil O'Brien, who finished third in the Dimension Data Pro-Am on the Sunshine Tour.
Neil is over there doing very well, working away, but you know what he's doing? He's driving between the venues. Thousands of miles he's driving to qualify, because he's playing in pre-qualifying events for these events.
Does he not like flying?
I think it's the cheapest way of doing it.
Right. And there's no water involved. Like, it's not a large ocean or anything.
Thousands of miles he's driving between these tournaments and these hire cars that are breaking down and falling apart.
Golf road trip.
Golf road trip.
Class.
Get the best prices on every round of golf with Hot Deals Tee Times exclusively from Golf Now. Available at more than 1,600 golf clubs throughout the UK and Ireland. Hot Deals save you up to 80% on thousands of tee times daily. Find the flame and save every time you play with Hot Deals, only from Golf Now.
Speaking of Golf Now, they have very kindly come on board again this year to sponsor some of our competitions.
Yes.
And no better time to do our first competition than this week. So we have a £25 Tee Times voucher, courtesy of Golf Now, to give away. We will ask a question. All you got to do is go on Twitter at NI Golf Podcast. Just tweet us the answer to this question.
Which venue was announced for the 2023 Walker Cup?
Okay, it was announced just yesterday?
Yeah, this week.
So it was announced this week. Which venue will host the 2023 Walker Cup?
It is in GBNA, and that's all you're getting in terms of tips.
So no other clues other than it's in GBNA.
Yeah, and that's all I need to know.
And that it's a very old golf course.
It's very, very much so.
Very, very, very old.
Have you ever played in that old golf course?
I've never played in that old course, no.
Okay.
I've never had the pleasure of walking over any wee bridges that happen to be there.
I'd love to play in that old course.
Yeah, that old course would be nice for you.
Okay.
So that's the question and the answer. All you gotta do is tweet us the answer to at NI Golf Podcast, and then from all the entries, we'll pick a winner on the next one.
One of the premier Challenge Tour events of the year, the NI Open, hosted by Modest Golf, returns to Galgorm Castle from the 16th to the 19th of August. Register now for your free tickets at niopen.golf.
Right, let's move on to the amateur news, MJ.
Lisburn's Paula Grant has been selected to represent Europe at the Patsy Hankins Trophy next month. The event, which sees 2 teams of 12 representing Europe and Asia Pacific, will be played at Doha Golf Club, Qatar from the 8th to the 10th of March. Paula is currently playing in the Spanish International Ladies Amateur Championship at Monte Castello Golf Resort. She's joined in the field by Georgia Carr, Ciara Casey, Valerie Clancy, Lauren Walsh and Annabelle Wilson.
And Ireland's Robin Dawson has been selected on Europe's 12-man team for the Balnack Trophy against Asia Pacific in Qatar at the same time. That's the 8th to the 10th of March. Dawson has been included by captain Alex Gouye for the biennial match featuring the best amateurs from Europe and Asia Pacific. Europe are the reigning champions that have won the last 5 matches and will defend their title this time around.
God a lot.
Thank you.
I like God a lot.
God a lot. Alexis,
your pronunciation was closer, but it looks like God a lot.
It does.
Claddy boy Scott Miller fired a 2-under par 66 to win the opening event of the Winter Series at Port Stewart Golf Club. Congrats also to Balmoral's Fian Dobbin, Balmoral, who managed a hole-in-one at the 15th. 2 more rounds of the Winter Series have been set for foil golf on the 26th of March and Galgorm on the 29th of April.
And it must be great being a junior golfer these days, because as we've covered so many events, there's so much to play. And now there's another one. Newry Mourne Down District Council have recently announced details of their Junior Summer Golf Trophy.
I saw that.
Yeah, it'll be played at Kilkeel and Mourne Point, and the qualifiers will get the chance to tackle Royal County Down. The event's opened under 18s. There are a number of different age categories, you can imagine, under 16, under 14, etc. And for the younger ones, sort of the under 10s, and for those who don't have a handicap, there's a special flag event. And you can find out the details on www.visitmournemountains.co.uk.
The qualifying dates and venues for the International King's Cup at Lough Erne have been released 4 provincial qualifiers will be staged in March and April in a bid to identify the best Irish team to take on the US of A. USA, mashed potato, in the 5-day, 54-hole match play tournament in May. Remember, this is a pairs event, and it's become very, very hotly contested after last year's qualifying.
It was great fun last year.
Great fun last year. You were down at it. There's a whole buzz about it now. It's it's the whole battle.
They all get tugged out in their gear, and they all get their pictures taken, and you think it's just a few boys getting together for a bit of old crack. And then the event starts.
And then there's the golf.
And suddenly it gets a bit serious.
Yes.
It was good fun now. I really enjoyed it last
year. This is year 3, isn't it? Yeah? Yeah, third year. Westport Golf Club will hold the Connacht qualifier on Saturday the 24th of March. The Leinster qualifier is at Dunmurray Springs on the 25th of March. Munster is at Ennis Golf Club on Saturday the 31st of March, and the Ulster qualifier will be at Lochgarn itself on Saturday the 7th of April. The national final qualifier is back at Lochgarn on Sunday the 15th of April, and the event itself runs from the 14th to the 18th of May. For more info, contact the clubs regarding directly.
The GUI have tied up a deal with Bridgestone Tyres to sponsor the Boys and Men's Order of Merit. The GUI have also redesigned the Order of Merit for 2018. There is more emphasis on home events, and the leading 2 players will be guaranteed a place on the Ireland team for the men's home internationals. You can find out more at golfnet.ie.
And just in case you missed it, the RNA and the USGA have announced details of a new world handicapping system, which is set to be implemented in 2020.
This is the sort of thing that your eyes start to glaze over when I start to talk about this, because this involves committees and people sitting making decisions and... It's worth noting a few things about this.
Give us the three bullet headlines. Yes.
The salient points.
Yes.
They're talking about they're going to reveal a bit more as we're going along, but they're talking about a few things. There'll be a maximum handicap of 54.
Great.
Can you imagine? Now, the whole thing is to try and get as many people playing golf, obviously, as you can possibly, but...
The way I'm going, it'll be 54 by 54.
54 seems a bit extravagant, but there you go. The average, your handicap will be more sort of an average-based thing, as opposed to, the way traditionally most people here think your handicap is the best that you've ever played, if you know what I mean. You get a handicap cut.
Yeah.
You've played the best you ever played, so you're the lowest you are. Now they're talking about an average. So your handicap will be more based on, they're talking about sort of the best 8 of your last 20 scores.
Right.
So it'll be more based on your general play as opposed to your very best. And finally, the one thing I think that people here would find quite difficult to get their head around, which is this slope system that they have in the States, whereby the basic way to do it is that each course is rated as well. So you judge your handicap off the rating of the course.
But is that not what the standard scratch is for?
The standard scratch, remember, tends to be, but it can change. There's a competition scratch scores brought in, you see, whereas this is based on, the slope. And the difference is you'll be able to take these handicaps anywhere in the world. So you'll be able to take your handicap from here next time you're playing.
And play the Pebble Beach Open.
With, and your handicap will be perfect for it. When you're playing all single for you and Tom.
Aye, did all.
At clubstohire.com, you can take all the hassle out of your golf travel and rent your clubs before you fly. Clubs to Hire offer the very latest sets from just £32 per week, including the brand new M4 clubs from TaylorMade. And Clubs to Hire have just opened 3 new locations in Australia. That's 26 locations worldwide. So wherever you're travelling to play golf, choose the easy option and hire your clubs at clubstohire.com.
Now, the Challenge Tour announced today that the Irish Challenge will be staged at Concra Wood in October. And I'm delighted to say that our old friend Conor McKenna, the PGA professional at the Castle Blaney Club, joins us on the line to give us all the info. Hiya, Conor.
Good evening, Paul and MJ. How you doing?
All good, thank you. All good.
Well, listen, this is a huge story and a huge big news story and good news story for yourselves at Concra Wood. Tell us, how did the event come to be staged in your place? What happened?
Well, Paul, I suppose we're wintering well down at Concra Wood, but got a phone call completely out of the blue about mid-January from Andrew Snoddy from the PGA, who had been the tournament controller at the 2012 Europro event, and just basically asked would we be interested in hosting the Irish Challenge. So I give him about 3 seconds and give him a yes straight away. Without asking how much, but we give him about 3 seconds, and he just said that the PGA and the officials had really enjoyed their time, the 3 years with us at the Europro events at Concra Wood. They said the course was a great test and that they'd been treated well when they arrived at the golf course. So this was kind of the progression to move on to a Challenge Tour event, which I suppose we've been not going out really looking for it, but certainly that's been in the plans for a little while now.
Yeah. That was always your ambition, was to sort of, you held the Euro Pro Tour event, you held three years of that, and the long-term ambition still is and probably remains to one day host an Irish Open, but this is another stepping stone along the way for you. It
is, sure. I mean, I think the Irish Open is certainly something that, you know, every golf club strives for, you know, and it's no different at Concra Wood. I think, you know, we have everything there now, basically, that we could stage that, but, you know, it's probably just a number of years too early just yet, Paul. But the natural progression was to go to Challenge Tour, you know, and the format of the Irish Challenge, you know, with the association of, you know, the Irish government and CGI and PGAs and all the rest, you know, right, yeah. It just fits our bill at the minute with what's going on at the golf club, so.
Yeah,
it's great.
It is. It has been like a lot of clubs. Concra Wood struggled during the economic downturn, just like so many clubs across Ireland. But you know, what does this sort of do for the club, Conor, and for the vibe about the place?
Well, I suppose, Paul, there's been lots going on anyway. In the last 4 or 5 months, I suppose, at the golf club, we're in the middle of a transition period where, you know, we've owed obviously a lot of money for a long time, and, you know, even though we've owed a lot of money, we just need to push ourselves on. Maybe it's the type of people they are in Castleblaney that, you know, they don't really worry too much about that, but they just move on anyway. So
keep the head down.
You know, they keep the head down, but you know, you've probably seen it maybe on social media. We are actively seeking shares, and I suppose you two boys are loaded there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
$5,000 would be nothing to you boys, but you know, we're in the middle of repositioning, you know, our mortgage, and I mean, we're just about to enter a completely new phase at our golf club, which is absolutely brilliant. You know, it's sort of the first time maybe in the years that I've been there that you sort of are starting to feel a lot more secure with everything that's going on at the club. So this is, you know, our 10th year of opening as well at the golf club. So, you know, it's maybe with what's going on, I suppose, financially, this year, was it a good year to have Challenge Tour? Probably it was a year too early, but you know, when the offer come, you just couldn't refuse something.
Absolutely,
like
when they come knocking your door. It's the early part of October for the event. Conor, what kind of sort of preparations do you need to do specifically for an event like this, or do you not need to do anything? Is the course sort of pretty much there?
Well, we do. I suppose, I mean, the weather has been so poor from last August, and we didn't get sanding last year as a result of the bad weather, so the fairways never got slitted or sanded. So, I mean, we have been set a program with our greenkeeper that there's going to be 2 sanding programs this year, which is very costly. In fairness, like it's roughly 14,000 per application.
Cheaper.
That's for the fairways alone. Mm-hmm. So the club are certainly, they know that they're going to have to put a little bit more into the golf course this year. We've actually just bought a new rough moor. We're intending to buy a new greens moor as well. So there is certainly a lot of money that has to be set aside for it, but we recognise this is now the next stage, you know. And the one thing that we were able to do in the 3 Euro Pro events was present the golf course to the best of its capabilities for the money that we had at the time, and we intend to do the same this year.
Well, I read a wee article earlier on just about the Challenge Tour coming, and you know, they were saying about it being a wee gem in the Irish countryside, and I have to say, I love Concra Wood. I've played it only about 2 or 3 times now, and I know a lot of boys don't because they think it's too tough.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it is tough, but it's a gorgeous golf course, and if you play half decent, you get so much back from it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the course is tough, you know, but at the same time, it's a championship golf course.
Yep.
And that is now, you know, just being shown, like, that we are getting, you know, Euro Pro events and now the Challenge Tour. You know, I think we in the club itself, like, we recognise that the course is tough enough anyway, you know, but we have been trying ourselves, like, to make it a little bit more user friendly, like, for the majority of the golfers that's out there. So, like, we have put in an extra set of tees. You know, we do recognise that you will have large greens that there's so many pin positions on. So we're trying our best to work with the greenkeepers to to make this place a little bit more playable. So push the tees up and pull the pin positions forward and stuff. So just to try and make it a little bit more user friendly for the mass market. But when it comes to this type of event on the Challenge Tour, a course of 7,300 yards with rough up to your knees and certainly a lot of this, it's going to be a great test for these players that are coming, and they're obviously quality golfers.
Well, as long as you've moved that fourth tee, I think it's the fourth tee on the par 5 all the way up onto the top of the hill, that'll do us right. See that old blind tee shot? That's a bugger, that is.
Yeah. Oh well.
Do you know why? Because I always run out of fairway at the other end. 320 yards, it snakes back, and that's me bit. So.
I love these dreamers.
Connor, obviously the Irish Challenge is the one that will have, the Team Ireland guys and all in it. It's really going to be, there's going to be a big local feel to it. A lot of the Irish players will be there. So again, it's just there's no lose to taking this. Was there any thought that you couldn't do it?
Within that 3 seconds?
Yeah. Well, for about 1 second I maybe thought about it, but the other, no, I think, it was up to me then, when I had the offers up to me to go back to the club then and see were they interested. I kind of thought it was a year too early for them, that they might have said, listen, put it off for a year. But I got a meeting arranged with our chairman, Mr. Seamus Mallon, and he came straight up and I said, listen, I've got something exciting. And within about maybe 4 seconds, he said, yes, go for it.
You boys don't mess about,
don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
They're fairly definitive down there. He wants to make up their mind to go for it. So,
all right. So, Connor, when is this event exactly?
Well, the tournament days are the 4th to 7th of October. Right. And I suppose many people in Irish golf, kind of saying, "Geez, it's a little bit late in the season," which probably it is. But I was talking to another greenkeeper just last week, and he said, "God, October is very late." And I said, "Well, the same thing could have happened in August last year because it was a washout from August. So there's no guarantees in Ireland, and sometimes you get those nice little patches in September and October that hopefully we'll get that week that's nice and dry.
The beauty of having it, there and so late in the season is that it's getting down to crunch time for the Challenge Tour.
Exactly. There's not a lot else.
It is. And I suppose we're looking for a good entry. It's probably going to be a slightly limited entry, maybe 130, 140 players, because of the daylight hours at that stage of the year. But I think when people start, these players start to Google the course and they look at the drone footage that we have on the golf course, I think, the quality of the course is always going to stand out, and the images that we have are just, I suppose cameras don't lie. It is a fantastic golf course, it has a great setting in a great location, and, the proximity we have, like from Belfast, Dublin.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't they come?
Why wouldn't you hear? Well, I hope they get glorious weather Thursday, Friday, and then that 60 mile an hour howler comes up the first on the Saturday, and then back to good weather on the Sunday, just to show them what the teeth of the course. Fantastic news for Concra, and thanks for coming on for a chat.
You're very welcome. Thanks.
All the best. Cheers soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right, Paul. Bye-bye.
One of the premier Challenge Tour events of the year, the NI Open, hosted by Modest Golf, returns to Galgon Castle from the 16th to the 19th of August. Register now for your free tickets at niopen.golf.
Our next guest is no stranger to the spotlight and no stranger to the NI Golf podcast. It's Tom McKibbin, who recently got a very special invite. But we'll let him tell us all about it. Evening, Squire.
Hello.
All good?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Fine, except the last time I saw you were a foot shorter. What has happened? You have gone, but what are you now? About over 6 foot?
Yeah, about 6 foot, yeah.
6 foot? Last time I saw you, honestly, you were literally about a foot shorter.
I know.
You've sprouted up in this last year, ridiculous, which is great because the old swing speed will go up.
Yeah, definitely. No, I don't mind it. You get a lot out of it. Swing speed, etc. So.
Yeah, exactly. Have you noticed a big increase in swing speed?
Yeah, this year I went up a lot more, so it has. So, but I think that's a bit of both with me growing and doing work on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a big focus for the young ones coming through now on swing speed. Especially in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, it seems to be, a big thing. So, I mean, who was saying to you guys? Was it a few years ago? Was it one of the Harmons?
Yeah, Claude Harmon.
Harmon said to you about swing speed, and it was a very important part of the game now. And obviously, you've been working on that with Johnny.
Yeah, I've been working on it with strength and conditioning coach as well, Jeff, and Johnny as well. But think I've got a lot, and it's actually helped a lot. It's so much easier when you can hit it a lot further.
Oh, absolutely. And so second us and tell us what you're up to then with the driver at the minute on average.
About 290 carry. About 112.
290 carry.
290 carry. What's that? What does that equate to? So about 110, 111?
111, 112.
Right. Anyway, some people have an off season. You don't. You're a bit like the Americans. You have a wraparound season because you were over in America recently and had a bit of a win under your belt. Tell us about that.
Yeah, won the Doral Publics and then won the Junior Honda Classic after that. So it's a good trip away.
A good trip away. 2 wins under your belt. Yeah. Tell us about the Doral and the Honda.
Yeah, the Doral one. It was. Course had a lot of water on it, of course, so it was good to play well around there. And then the Junior Honda was on PGA National where they had the Honda last week, and it's just such a hard course. It's just windy every day.
How was the trap for you?
Well, I went around at even pars for 2 rounds.
There you go.
Well, I birdied, hit it the foot in the 15th, so I did. So and then hit a bad bogey on that 16th hole, hit it in bunker. So.
Yeah. So what was your score for the 2 rounds?
4 over.
4 over.
It wasn't too bad because the wind was pretty.
Yeah.
And the rough's deep round that course.
So a good way to start. Good way to start the season. And then along comes an invite from Mr. Faldo's championship.
Yeah, going to play the Faldo Invitational Major Champion, and yeah, it's over in Florida in 2 weeks, so I'm going over next week to just get ready, used to grass and stuff.
Oh, of course. You need that prep time. You need a bit of acclimatization coming from the beast from the east to the Floridian climate.
Yeah, so what's happened is that Faldo's approached a number of major champions to pull this event together. And he only announced it just after Christmas time. So he's spoken to a number of major champions, like Rory and Jordan Spieth and all these boys, and he said, can you send me a couple of players? So Rory jumped straight in. Of course, I'll send you a couple of players. Your man gets a call. And, by the way, Annabelle Wilson.
Yes, read that.
Annabelle Wilson. So we're sending the top team over. They better win now.
And this, so who helped? How many's on the team then altogether?
4.
4. So it's yourself, Annabelle,
Alan Kornikova, and then someone else. I'm not too sure who it is.
So how is Alan Kornikova's game these days? Because Alan was the star of a documentary film on Netflix about 7 years ago now.
Yeah,
called The Short Game.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Mr. Kelly. Oh, he low blow, very low. So how's his game?
Not sure, but I'm sure it's good.
But you have played with him?
I played with him. Yeah, I played with him a few years ago, but I see him at all the events, so I'm pretty friendly with him. So.
And he is the brother of Anna Kournikova, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so he's got it in his blood, in the pedigree.
Yeah.
And so who was the fourth one? Alan and.
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay.
Yeah,
so.
I know it's a girl anyway. So.
And what's the format of the competition then?
I think it's team event, and then there's like an individual prize as well.
So there's a fair Northern Ireland contingent then, as you would expect.
Yeah, hopefully.
So no pressure. No pressure.
Thanks.
And then basically the same week, another envelope dropped through the door.
Yeah, an email from Sage Valley Invitational, Junior Invitational there. So I'm really excited to play that. It's one of the best ones you could go to ever.
So I've heard. I didn't actually know anything about the Sage Valley now.
No, I never heard of this at all either.
But it was actually your dad. We were up with your dad doing the winner's wedge fitting. Johnny McKinstry was up over the weekend getting his wedges all sorted out. So tell your dad thanks very much. But he was saying about this. I'd never heard of the Sage. So tell us a wee bit about it.
54 people playing it, and it's invite only. So and then I think it's 3 rounds, so it is, and of course Sage Valley, best courses in the world. So, and
it's an exclusive invitational just to the world's best juniors, basically.
I think so. Yeah, I think there's sponsors exemptions as well. So Nike invited me to go play. So
excellent.
When is that, Tom?
I think it's around the middle of April. So
already the season is starting to fill up.
Morris, when was your last round of golf?
Proper one?
Yes.
I don't know, October or something.
Yeah. And Morris, when were we hoping to play golf again?
Anytime Tom wants to take us with us and play in Florida is fine. So apart from those invitations, which is unbelievable, fantastic. What are you working on the minute that you're on your game then?
Working on getting the club face a bit stronger, like for sort of been hitting pretty weak block shots sometimes, so because I leave the face open, so just strengthening the club face up a bit, and that's it really. Don't really want to change too much stuff.
And I know we're talking a bit about sort of going to America. What about the home events now? I suppose you're going to focus on trying to get back in the Irish team?
Yeah, no, I'm going to play a few all under 18 events this year, just focus on those, and play a couple of men's events that I'll be available for. So
very good. So what are we talking about? You're not playing the West, obviously. You'll be
no, I'm away for that, so I'll play Connacht Boys, and then the East probably, and the North, and I'll play all the other under 18 events.
Very good. So you'll be testing yourself against the older boys now at this stage?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I can't wait. It should be good.
And can Hollywood still rely on you for the Fred Daly?
Yeah, well, if I'm available, I'll play. So
if I'm available, play, it's class. They'll be looking at you. Eddie will be after you.
I know.
He'll be giving you a call. Well, fantastic start to the season. Fantastic invitations. You've already got 2 wins under your belt this year, so it's going to be a great one. Tom, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks.
Cheers. All the best.
Thanks.
Bye. So we've been out and about on our travels, recording bits and pieces this week for the NI Golf podcast. I was up at the clubhouse at Green Acres, up there in Newton Abbey direction. So it was our winner, Johnny McKinstry. If you remember our big competition last year, yes. Well, Johnny McKinstry, he was our overall winner, and one of the prizes was to get a custom wedge fitting.
Cleveland wedges,
right? With Robin McKibbin up in the clubhouse
Very
up
good.
at Green Acres.
The fitting centre.
So Johnny decided to book it on Saturday past there, and it was arguably the coldest day in the history of coldness. And slapping into him that his hands nearly fell off with the cold. I mean, who picks a day like that in the middle of winter to get a wedge fitting? He did. So I was up filming some stuff, and I'm going to sort of cut together the video because we're going to put it up on our various pages and stuff, because it gives people a really good insight in what you can expect from
the process,
either a club fitting or more specifically a wedge fitting, because there's a whole lot more to it than you may imagine. So we did some video up with Robin McKibbin, so you'll be able to see that over the next week or two once we get it edited together, and
Very good.
See that. You were also on your travels?
Yes, I was meeting performance coach Karl Morris ahead of a seminar delivered in Malone Golf Club.
You lent me his book last year.
Yes. Did you make any use of it?
I used it to prop up a speaker in the bedroom for a while, because it was.
Well, that's not what you should do it.
No, I will read it.
Definitely read it. Karl is very experienced. He's been doing it 20-odd years. He's worked with a number of world's top players, including Graham McDowell, on getting their performance aspects right before they go and play and while they're playing. And he sat down and had a chat with me about his career and what we can hopefully try and bring into our own games this summer.
Okay, there's going to be an extended version of this, because you were up chatting to him for a good sort of 20 minutes, half hour, whatever. So we'll bring you virtually the full interview on another little sort of standalone episode. But here's just a little bit of what Karl had to say to Paul last week.
Karl, just to begin with, you're not a sports psychologist. I think that's very key.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm certainly not qualified to call myself a sports psychologist, but going back best part of 20 years ago, I realised there was an area of performance in golf that was missing. You know, that so many people working on the technical aspect of the game, but not being able to take the game to the golf course. So it was a journey I started all those years ago that's been very kind to me, really. There's enough damaged golfers out there keep requiring some help.
And over the years, Karl, you've worked with some of the world's best golfers, most importantly from our point of view, the likes of Darren Clarke and Graham McDowell. And they sort of really got you interested in that high level of sport. And most recently you said you were working with Joyce Luton.
Just to interrupt that, well, bizarrely, we were sat here in the hotel at Belfast Airport. It was weird coming through the door, because the very first meeting I ever had with Graham McDowell was here. And I had to invite him into my room. so you can just imagine that was where we're going to meet. Well, we'll meet, and it was busy down in the foyer. And the next minute, it was a little bit embarrassing that, but we hit it off straight away. And then still speak to him 15 years later. So it's been a great journey that. But yeah, recently I was asked to have a chat with Joyce Luton, who was really struggling with his putting. So the benefits of modern technology now. We spent an hour and a half on Skype and suggested a couple of ideas to him, and he was telling me that he has this it's the strokes, the strokes gained thing that they have on tour these days, and he'd been, I think, -6 or -7 putting previous couple of weeks, and then when he won in Oman, he was +7 to the field with putting. So maybe it was a coincidence that we had a chat, but it seemed to work quite well.
So try and give people an idea of the sort of thing that you would do. Karl, you wouldn't sit them down and sort of go into their deepest, darkest secrets. What you kind of do is pinpoint areas that they need to work on and give them a structure that they can take with them onto the course. Not the best way to describe it.
The number one word that describes what I do, Paul, is attention, in the sense that I'm always very interested. What has somebody got their attention on when they're playing golf? And it's a very simple formula that either your attention's on something useful or useless. Now, as we all know with golfers, there's so much information out there. You know, we were talking earlier about YouTube and things like that. There's so much that you could put your attention on when you're swinging a golf club or moving a putter. But very often it's an overload of information that causes the problem. So a lot of the time I'm actually getting people to, first of all, understand how much they're actually thinking about perhaps the technique, and then finding out what works for them. But the big thing I've done over the last probably 10 years is really sort of homing on the idea that everybody's completely different, everybody's unique. So I say to them, you need to become an attention detective. You need to find out what makes you as an individual tick. You know, don't try and be Tiger or Ernie or Graham or whatever. Yeah, you can take some information from these great players, but you've got to understand what your sort of formula is for success. I always say that, you know, good play leaves a trail behind it, but we don't look for it. We always ask, what am I doing wrong? Probably a more important question is, what do I do right when I play well? You know, and that's always, most of the time I'm connecting people back to things they already know, but they've forgotten to do.
Yeah. It's funny you were talking about data there now. Even in the time that you've been doing this business and career performance, even most recently you have your man Mark Brody and all the information that he's developed and sort of changed people's ideas about exactly what scoring is, and there's all that data out there. Has that sort of affected how you go about your game?
No, again, I would use the same sort of definition really, or the same parameters. That is information useful to the individual? Now, some people respond really, really well to it. Other people, it's actually quite damaging. You know, some people, if you get them to, say, focusing on greens in regulation, for instance, and they get better at that can affect their overall score in a positive way. So, again, you know, it's one of those things. If you're a numbers person and you respond to numbers, yeah, Mark Brody's book is a great book. But perhaps if you're a bit more of a big picture person, you could get a little bit tied in knots with it. So, this theme of individuality really is the big key.
Now, obviously you do a lot of work with clubs as well as elite players, and tonight actually you're going over to Malone to deliver one of your seminars. This is something, performance is something that the club player can get and use effectively. It's not just the elite.
100%. Well, probably the thing I enjoy doing most in what I've done over the years is what I'm doing tonight, is going to a club. I think they've got about 80 people there tonight, and there'll be a real broad cross-section of golfers. You know, I'm sure there'll be juniors, men, women, ladies, seniors, all the rest of it. But my theme tonight will be, first of all, is to set yourself a bit of a challenge. Now, that challenge doesn't have to necessarily be get your handicap down. It could be play some golf courses that you've never played before, or, you know, book that holiday that you always wanted to go on. It doesn't matter, it's about an individual thing. But then I'll talk about some performance ideas that have worked well with players over the years. And again, the theme being that, yeah, look at your golf swing, but that's not the only thing. You know, what do you do before you hit the shot? What's going through your mind before you hit it? And probably more relevant for a lot of people is what goes through your mind after the ball's gone. You know, I get people working on post-shot routines, and that can have a real plus effect, because you can change that straight away. Tough to change your golf swing, but you can change your reaction straight away.
Andrew Morris Golf now offers 12 months interest-free credit on everything bought online and in store. New golf clubs or that electric trolley you've been dreaming of for as little as £30 per month. Drive the extra mile to drive away happy. Check out andrewmorrisgolf.com for full terms and conditions. Andrew Morris Golf on the web and at Laganview Golf Centre, Lambeg.
And that is it for another episode of the NI Golf Podcast. It was episode 42. We were due to be playing golf this Friday.
But the beast from the east has made sure that ain't happening.
No, this is now Wednesday evening when we're recording the podcast. The beast is about to impact fully, we believe.
There may well be some snow, Morris.
There may be, so it's been cancelled down at Kirkiston, which is unfortunate. But it's been postponed for a week. Yeah. So we might get out next Friday around Kirkiston.
Yeah, it might be 3 or 4 degrees then.
That'd be balmy, tropical.
I've given up. I'm just gonna. But do you know what I need? I need a holiday.
I need a holiday. Wait, I think we should off to Portugal.
I wonder if Tom will take us to Florida.
Exactly.
Do you think Nick Faldo would bloody give us an invite?
Is there anything happening over the next couple of weeks? Rory's out again.
Valspar. Yeah, the Valspar, and then another WGC. Then we'll have the match play after that. And before you know it, Morris.
Before you know it, it'll be the Masters. It'll be the Masters.
And then the chickens will come home to roost.
So if you're, as we always say, if you're still playing the Winter League, lunatic, especially this week.
If you played golf this week, you lunatic.
Fair play. This is wild. We'll be back in 2 weeks, folks. Have a good one, and we'll chat to you soon.
See ya.
Don't touch me.
Seawood. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. Seawood. Shaking that ass.